Oh, I need to. Hello, everyone. Let's try that again. Live YouTube. Everybody. Welcome to the UFC Island 6 official weigh-ins. It is very morning for us. It's middle of the day for Jose Young, who's joining us. He's on site in Abu Dhabi.
Middle of the day. It's 5 p.m.
That's midday. Isn't that not midday?
It's late afternoon, sir.
Late afternoon. What's midday mean? Well, we will figure out the definition of midday as we go through the show. We have EKC Leiden in the truck, of course, and I will be handling much of the chitter-chatter, Alexander Kaley here in my room in Canada. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. I see a lot of Korean viewers. That is very exciting. So hopefully we cannot moderate that because I don't speak that language. So I assume everyone's just saying good morning. Very excited about the Saturday's main event. How is everyone doing this morning? Do you have any words for our Korean fans, Michael Heck?
Welcome. Very exciting fight coming up tomorrow. I know Jose is still maybe not believing that this fight will transpire tomorrow night, but
what fight's going on
I feel
tomorrow?
pretty good about it.
I have no idea what's going on tomorrow, guys.
I think there's this zombie fella, the Korean zombie, against Brian Ortega. I mean, good Lord. I'm so excited for that fight. Yeah. It's a good fight. Yeah, so welcome to all of our viewers right now.
Oh, we really do have I really do see a lot of Korean viewers in the chat. Hello, everyone. I should have been prepared for this. This is day one stuff. You got to know your audience. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us wherever you're watching from. Here we go.
Okay, so it's back to the stage. What up, your main event? Brian Ortega.
Oh, looks like did he shave his head? I think Brian Ortega shaved his head.
Shut up.
He's wearing a hat. Brian Ortega may have shaved his head.
Oh my!
We are awaiting confirmation. We are awaiting confirmation.
Is that what? Oh my goodness.
That's not him.
Is that him?
146 for Brian Ortega.
What?
Can we get confirmation that's him?
Jose, is that Brian Ortega with a shaved head?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Say Brian and see if he responds, because I don't believe that's him.
No.
Just checking. Sorry, guys. Just this wait here. That was 146 for anyone who didn't catch that for Brian Ortega. So he is on point for the non-title featherweight main event.
Non-hair.
Non-title, non-hair, apparently.
Oh my God! If Korean Zombie comes out with long hair, I would die.
Using, but cool.
Next to the stage, the women's flyweight division.
Poliana Botelho up next.
Okay, I'm gonna lie down for a little bit, guys. I'm just like confused. So you guys can just continue.
Yeah. You need a minute. Don't worry about it. We'll handle this end of things for now. That was.
What a shocking way to start this thing.
Maybe that was a couple ounces he saved. I don't know.
We had 2 hours. I mean, it's not like,
Well, get it done. Just cut the hair.
125 for Poliana Battalion.
125, Poliana Botelho. We're still reeling over here. Great, congrats to Botelho for making it. We're still reeling from a ball. I want to see some of the comments. What are people saying about this hairless Brian Ortega? I shouldn't say hairless, so I know hair in his head.
Guram, Kutateladze.
wasn't that type of way.
Mike, who's coming up next?
Guram Kutateladze.
Look at that. Perfect. Kutateladze. Remember this name, people. This guy is legit.
Teammate of one Hamzat Chimaev.
Well, now you're getting people talking. You shouldn't have said it. That's all people are going to talk about now for the rest of the stream.
Oh, sorry. What was Poliana's weight?
125.
All right. I'm still reeling. Sorry.
Guram trying to make 155. Let's see.
156 for Guram Kutateladze.
156, just as good. Guram stepping in on short notice. Actually, this fight has kind of a weird background to it, but he's stepping on in about 11 days, 12 days notice for Magomed Mustafayev. But there's more to that. He's fighting the debuting Mateusz Gamrot, KSW champion. I don't think we have a pause, so I'm going to wait.
Was that Guram?
That was Guram, correct.
What did he weigh in? I'm sorry.
156.
And according to our statistics, Brian Ortega has weighed in, but I have not seen it.
You haven't seen the real Brian Ortega. I looked away for a second. I was like, who's weighing in? I didn't hear the name. Then I saw this hair, and I was like, okay, that is definitely Gillian Robertson.
Yeah.
125.5 for Gillian Robertson.
125.5 for Canada's own Gillian Robertson.
First thing I noticed, besides Brian Ortega's lack of hair, is we have a different guy controlling the scale this week as opposed to last week. So there won't be as emphatic of slamming of the scale this week.
Disappointing. Sorry, guys. That's what you came for.
Yeah,
Thomas Almeida. He is back. Thomas Almeida is back after a long layoff. About 1,000 days since Thomas Almeida's last fight.
The former super hot prospect.
Yes.
Let's see if he can get
Still
back
very
to
young.
those violent days.
I think he's only 29.
$146 for Thomas Almeida.
146 for Thomas Almeida.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, this is a featherweight fight. All right.
Okay.
Yes, the former bantamweight contender. There's been some tough circumstances with his fights kind of being postponed. So I actually didn't know. This is a featherweight contest, people.
Heavyweight division, Jimmy Crute.
Jimmy Crute coming up next. So Thomas Almeida and Jonathan Martinez, both normally bantamweights, will just have to hit 145.
Which I approve of.
Yes, that was a smart thing to do.
$206 for Jimmy Crute.
206 for Jimmy Crute. He'll be fighting on the main card. A lot of fighters using that extra pound this morning. Why not?
Taking the light heavyweight division next to the stage, Max Grishin.
Maxim Grishin, PFL fighter. Maxim Grishin going for his second UFC fight. See how dropping back down to 205, which is really where he should be competing.
$205.5 for Max Grishin.
205.5 for Grishin. No issues returning to light heavyweight.
It's his 41st professional fight.
Next up in the world,
A lot of experience.
James Krause.
Grishin got a lot of experience for a UFC, quote-unquote UFC rookie. And had a tough draw in his debut. Had to fight at heavyweight against Marcin Tybura. Not easy. Now, the James Krause stepping up to the scale.
Has anyone asked him where he got the nickname "The" from?
Yes, I think I'm sure Mike and I both have. I'll have the story in a moment. I had to remember what it is. But yes, there's a pretty clear story.
There's someone else had. It was like an email or a website or something, and he just kept it. So it was like the email was like the James Krause at gmail.com. The website was like the JamesKrause.com.
What did he weigh in?
Someone weird.
Is that what he said? I thought. Okay, yeah.
What did he weigh in?
171. Sorry, that was 171 for James Krause. Stepping in on short notice again. James Krause, not a believer in full camps apparently. James Krause just stays ready. Jonathan Martinez coming up, as we said before. He is stepping in on short notice to fight Thomas Almeida. So both guys weighing in at the bantamweight limit, not not featherweight. Excuse me. Both fighters weighing at the featherweight limit, not bantamweight. I apologize.
Rookie.
Bush League. Straight up Bush.
146 for Jonathan Martinez.
146 for Jonathan Martinez. So Jonathan Martinez also on the mark. So him and Thomas Almeida, that fight is official.
It's going to be a scrap.
That's going to be a good one. That's a great replacement they found.
Jonathan Martinez, I like to call him the silence behind the violence, because he's very quiet, very soft-spoken.
Trademark that?
That was an ECW thing.
Oh.
Moving on to the middleweight division. Jung Park.
Should know that.
Jun Park coming up.
Jun Young Park facing John Phillips. Guaranteed banger? I think so. First round knockout? I think so.
$185 for Jun Young Park.
185 for Jun Young Park. I'm trying to remember what James Krause told me about his nickname.
His friends call him D.
I mean, I would.
This fight of the night in the fight division. Saeed Nurmagomedov.
Saeed Nurmagomedov coming up next. Highly touted prospect. Probably about as highly touted prospect. He's already had, I think, one loss in the UFC, but otherwise has looked as advertised.
$136 for Saeed Nurmagomedov.
136 for Saeed Nurmagomedov. He'll be fighting Mark Striegel, who has yet to weigh in. So we've had a few fights made official, or maybe just the one. Let's see here. Maybe just the one.
Next up in the light heavyweight division, Gadzhimurad Antigulov.
Well, here's another one about to become official. Gadzhimurad Antigulov coming to weigh in for his fight with Maxim Grishin.
$206 for Gadzhimurad Antigulov.
206 for Gadzhimurad Antigulov. So that fight with light heavyweight bout, Maxim Grishin, now official.
What was Saeed's weight? I'm sorry.
Saeed Nurmagomedov went in 136.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
I think we have all our weights updated right now.
Next to the scales in the light heavyweight division, Modestas Bukauskas.
Modestas Bukauskas coming up next. Another light heavyweight fight. He had a great debut. Let's see.
I don't know too much about him, but he has an awesome name.
It's a great name. It's fun to say.
Yeah, I like it.
206 for Modestas Bukauskas.
206 for Modestas Bukauskas, the Lithuanian fighter who fights out of England. Big step up in competition. He has to take on Jimmy Crute, but you know what? Throw him right into the fire. Very talented guy, quite a bit of experience for a young guy. So good on the matchmakers for saying just going for it.
What was that?
Wait, man.
Is that our first break?
Yeah.
All right.
Trying to
Really?
get as much stuff as I can up right now.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
The internet is
go ahead.
right now.
Mike, go ahead. Give us the rundown. We've had about half the card weigh in, it looks. But yeah, let the people know what have we seen so far.
All right, so one half of the main event has weighed in. The now hairless Brian Ortega weighed in at 146 pounds. I can appreciate the hairstyle myself.
It's on our Twitter and our Instagram if anyone wants to go find it.
Yes.
We'll replay in a second. I'm just trying to get the footage out right now.
Yes, check that out on our social media pages. So he weighed in 146, still waiting on the Korean Zombie, still waiting on both of our co-main eventers, Jessica Andrade and Katlyn Chookagian. Modestas Bukauskas, the last man to weigh in, he weighed in at 206. Oop. So Bukauskas and Crute, 206 apiece. We're about to have another official fight. James Krause weighed in at 171. He will take on this man, Cláudio Silva, who has not lost a fight since 2007. And that one was a DQ, which you can compare to John Jones's loss to the elbows and stuff. Shouldn't have been.
171 for Cláudio Silva.
It should not have been a loss.
Agreed. 171 for Cláudio Henrique de Silva, or Cláudio Silva, if you want to be cool like that. His fight with the James Krause is official. If there's no one, I don't know if we're having a break in, but yes, I can recap. Jose's account of why James Krause is called the James Krause is accurate. I can give a little more detail.
Shocking.
Or just repeat what he said before. I mean, it is shocking to me, given your propensity for fake news. But today, Jose Young is on point.
Jessica Andrade.
The former champ.
The former champ, the former bantamweight and former strawweight, now fighting, trying to make the 125 weight limit for the first time. So this is gonna be big for her.
And this fight got even bigger for her too, because now Cynthia Calvillo is out of her fight with Lauren Murphy.
Right.
So this could make things very interesting if she were to beat Katlyn Chookagian tomorrow night.
126 for Jessica Andrade.
126. No problem for the former strawweight champion. Probably very happy to have 10 more pounds to play around with. So good for her for making that her UFC flyweight debut.
Is she the first lady in the UFC to fight in 3 weight classes?
I believe she'll definitely get a win.
No.
If she gets a win, she'll be the first women's UFC fighter to get a win in 3 weight classes.
Or even to fight. Yeah.
Yes, and she'll become, I believe, the 12th fighter of either gender to win in 3 different weight classes. Korean Zombie coming up.
Have hair. Long hair zombie.
No, bald as Mike Heck, please.
146 for Jackson Jung.
146. He's on weight. That main event is official.
If you haven't seen it, go to the Korean Zombies YouTube page. It's probably like 6 months ago or so. He put out a video about ways to cheat at weigh-ins. It's pretty fascinating.
Oh, yeah. He's a very earnest man, I should say. Honest and earnest.
All right, guys.
We're waiting on some more fighters to arrive.
Okay. So there we go. We have our main event official and one half of our co-main event official. We are now just waiting on Katlyn Chookagian for the flyweight co-main event of Saturday's UFC.
Are you seeing
Brian Ortega's head.
Show. Oh my goodness. There it is.
Wow.
That's real. That's real.
This okay.
Short hair, don't care.
He looks a little bit like Cillian Murphy in 28 Days Later. That's my instant reaction, my hot take on this. People feel free to throw your own comparisons in there.
I don't know what to say. I've been saying for years that Vincent Henderson needs to just change things up and shave his head. But no, it was Ortega that did it first. I don't know what to think about this. This is unreal. He was his hair.
I think he was more than his hair. I'm gonna
No.
go out there. Having spoken to Ortega recently, I can confirm he is more than his hair. Unless I was just talking to his hair.
Yes. I mean, he's
he
hair,
was a
and
phone
then there's like a
interview.
human being underneath it, but really we're here for the hair.
Sure. It was a phone interview. I do not know whether I was speaking to Brian Ortega or speaking to his hair. I assumed it was a human being, but his hair could have turned sentient and could have been conducting the interview for him. It was a very candid Brian Ortega, so maybe his hair was giving all this, doing the honest part. But I see people. Anyone asking about the stream quality, guys? This is streaming from Abu Dhabi. I don't know what to tell you. This is how the internet works. Our man on the ground is doing everything he can to give you a quality stream. But again, this is the society we live in. Where people are like, how can I not get a high quality stream from a million miles away on the planet Earth? And it's like, we apologize. We'll get you guys as high quality streams as we can as soon as possible. James Krause, his nickname, the James Krause. As Jose alluded to, when he was in college, all the social media, all the websites were taken by another James Krause, who actually went to the same school, as Jose said, and then he just went with and a friend who was a broadcaster in Kansas City took that and ran with it, and really helped disseminate the James Krause nickname. So there you go for anyone. It's also just a really cool nickname. So we have one.
We're watching the. Oops, we got the grid on here. Sorry.
Brian Ortega. Shorn.
Oops, too many graphics over there.
Stand by. Next to the stage in the lightweight division,
Faraz Ziam coming up next. Needs to make the 155 limit.
Is there a bigger who could cut their hair, shave their head in the UFC, MMA that would be a bigger shocker than Brian Ortega?
Obviously, Clay Guida.
No, you think Clay?
Did he already
has
do
shaved
it?
it?
No.
Oh.
Recently?
156 for Ziam.
156 for Faraz Ziam. He is still waiting for his opponent, Jamie Mullarkey.
I think Kyler Phillips would be a shock right now if he shaved his head.
Yeah, people just go.
We can't put Kyler Phillips on Ortega's level right now. I mean, it would be a shock to.
I think I would say if Masvidal showed up with a shaved head, it'd be kind of.
Yeah,
but we've seen Masvidal with a shaved. He's fought for years with a shaved head.
Short hair.
Yeah.
Have we ever seen Ortega in a professional fight with short hair?
Yeah, but now he's street Jesus, so it'd be a little off-brand.
I told you guys what my preferred nickname for. Go ahead. Sorry, Jose, go ahead.
First few fights of his career in the UFC, he had short hair.
I didn't hear
Ortega.
Ortega did have short hair in the beginning of the UFC?
I do not remember that.
Yep.
Hair. Do we have someone else coming up?
Yes.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yep.
Striegel?
Did not hear it. Losing our stream integrity a little bit.
Everyone's trying to upload the Brian Ortega footage.
Because it's shocking.
135 for Mark Striegel.
135, Mark Striegel.
135. Okay. 135. I heard like I don't even. I heard it completely wrong, right? Okay. It doesn't matter. So there you go. That fight is official as well. His fight with Magomedov. Tough draw, but Striegel coming in with an 18-2 record, so certainly some. He's fought for one championship previously. He's won, excluding a no contest, won his last 4 fights. So some hype there for sure behind himself as well. 14 submissions. So this guy knows what he's doing on the ground.
One of those submission wins against Kai Kara France.
Oh, that's huge. That's big. I assume it at 135.
Yeah, I think so. It was like 6 years ago. So.
Sure. Still, that's
Still
a nice. That's
good.
definitely a big win. Nice feather to have in your cap.
Back to the big story of the day. Brian Ortega.
Oh, I forgot. I want to say Jorge Masvidal. I wish this name had expanded more. Street Jesus is great, obviously. I love someone on Twitter, I wish I can remember his name, came up with Miami Christ, which I think is the best nickname. I don't know if it's going to spread. It's not as easy to remember, I don't think, but I like Miami Christ.
If you haven't seen it yet, Brian Ortega's media day scrum was unbelievable. It was really, really good. He talked about hitting the reset button, kind of like what we saw last week, talking about having to burn some bridges, cutting some people out of his life, and maybe this is just, I mean, now he's cutting the hairs out of his life too. So going full circle, kind of like Mako on a.
If you remember,
it's symbolic.
Well, if you remember his fight before Moicano, he came out very late. Like I think right for the official ranks, he came out he was like right at the end, and his hair was still soaking wet, and he was in the towel. Like he came directly from the sauna to the scale. So this isn't the first time.
He said this is the first time for what?
No, his hair was soaking wet. Like he came from the sauna, so it's like this isn't the first time he's like, I think, struggled to make.
You think Ortega struggled to make weight? Is that what we're suspecting?
I mean, that's probably the main reason why he did it.
Yes.
You think so? He came at 9 o'clock.
Here's Gamrot.
I mean, he was the first one to weigh in. He still had 2 more hours to shave that head.
Maybe he was just in a hurry to rehydrate.
And that's a clean shave. That's not like they had clippers ready to go.
Here comes Gamrot to the scale.
All right.
A lot of people
highly
said
anticipated UFC debut.
$156 for Mateusz Gamrot.
156. He is on point. Mateusz Gamrot.
And very excited about it.
As we all are. Former KSW lightweight champion, 17-0. 17-0, a 1 no contest. Definitely ready for a step up to the UFC. He's also, so it's funny, he's also stepping in on short notice, technically, for Renato Moicano. This fight was originally Renato Moicano versus Magomed Mustafayev. And then Moicano bowed out, and so Gamrot replaced him to fight Mustafayev. And then Guram Kutateladze came in on 11 days' notice for Mustafayev. So this fight completely morphed from what it originally was. It was Moicano versus Mustafayev. Now we get Gamrot versus Kutateladze. So we get a quality matchup either way. But for anyone wondering what happened to that Moicano fight, it's like this kind of is it. It kind of mutated into something else, which has happened before.
I didn't even realize it. We're down to 4 fighters.
4? I thought it was just 3. Who am I missing?
Chookagian, Phillips, 3.
It's just 3. Yeah.
Gamrot, now that we're updated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is outstanding.
Go ahead. Yeah,
let jinx it.
And they'll all be here within the next 10 minutes. Go ahead, Matt. Let people know just joining us now on the UFC Fight Island 6 weigh-in streams with about 90 minutes to go. Where are we at, Mike?
All right, main event is official. Brian Ortega and the Korean Zombie both weigh in at 146 pounds apiece. Jessica Andrade weighed in at 126, still waiting on Katlyn Chookagian. Modestas, Bukauskas taking on Jimmy Crute. That is official, 206 apiece. Cláudio Silva versus the James Krause, 171 apiece. That is official. Thomas Almeida versus Jonathan Martinez, bumping up to featherweight for this one, 146 apiece. Mateusz Gamrot just weighed in at 156 pounds. He's going to take on Guram Kutateladze, 156 apiece. Gillian Robertson weighed in at 125.5. Her fight with Poliana Botelho is official. She weighed in at 125. Jung Park weighed in at 185, still waiting on John Phillips. Ziam weighed in at 156, still waiting on Jamie Mullarkey. Gadzhimurad Antigulov, 206, taking on Maxim Grishin, who weighed in at 205.5. And then the curtain jerker, if you will, Saeed Nurmagomedov weighed in at 136, taking on the debuting Mark Striegel, who weighed in at championship weight, 135 pounds.
One of the only fighters so far to weigh in at championship weight. Everyone else kind of slacking, using that extra pound. Come on, people. We're trying to make an impression here. So thank you, Mark Striegel, for being professional. Who else weighed in it? Poliana Botelho weighed in at championship weight, and Jun Young Park. Okay, fair enough.
It's a sneaky good card, like from top to bottom.
They're all sneaky good now.
I was very high on last week's card.
I would like to announce a sneaky bad card one day. It's like
Yeah.
a lot of
It's
big
like
names on this card, but it's sneaky bad. This is a sneaky bad card.
I feel that way almost every time there's 3 title fights in the card. I always feel like 3 title fights is a mistake.
You know the classic.
My memory card is not broken.
All right.
Fight Island.
I lost like the win. Like it doesn't matter.
I have to read out this one comment from on Twitter. Someone very excited about Mateusz Gamrot weighing in. This is from Ace Offseason at Garrett Cole Season. Big Yankees fan, big New York sports fan. And I will read it as he wrote it in all caps. Mateusz Gamrot, the future face of the lightweight division. Joanna, Mateusz, and Jan will all be champions at the same time. Easy work tomorrow night. So I wanted to express this is the enthusiasm we have surrounding this man. And I apologize, RIP headphones, for anyone who did not see that coming. I tried to warn you as all caps was coming, but we have more people shouting in all caps in the comments. The enthusiasm and the viewership is welcome, everyone. So thank you for joining us this morning. We have a bit of a
great fight.
It's going to
Gamrot,
be a great...
I mean, a lot of people excited for Gamrot, obviously. Kutateladze is a very interesting prospect, too. And can he ride the wave of his teammate Hamzat Chimaev? Because Hamzat, obviously, because they're teammates, had some very kind things to say. He says he's a killer, says he's going to smash Gamrot tomorrow at his scrum yesterday. But Kutateladze, definitely in. He's a guy that one of those guys that likes to live in the gym during his training camps. Him and Chimaev train a lot all the time. So maybe some of that superstardom, some of that hype can rub off on Kutateladze. That's a really good fight. I know a lot of people are excited about Gamrot, but Kutateladze is not a guy you could sleep on. That's for sure.
These KSW guys have not been getting easy fights in their debuts. Duplessis last week got Marcus Perez, who style-wise was a very difficult matchup for him. And I think anyone who watched that fight will tell you. I think they were. I saw comments on Twitter before Duplessis got that knockout, saying like, "Oh, it looks like he's struggling a little bit with the bright lights of the UFC." And then he knocked him out later. But Jan Blachowicz in his first UFC fight got Alir Latifi. He won, but that again, I would say is definitely a tough fight for your first UFC fight. So, I mean, it just kind of shows you, I think, the respect the matchmakers have for KSW, which is really up there as far as, I think, the top promotions in the world. You take their top fighters, I think they compete against anyone. So we'll see with Gamrot as well.
Outside of Ryzen, maybe KSW is arguable too. But KSW, their live show is unreal. Like it was funny when people were saying that. Oh, like the Octagon lights.
But so I saw one right here, one that had the weigh-in sound. So like basically from here on out, I can get caught up.
I think I was
getting a peek behind the curtain here, folks.
The chaos behind the curtain.
Oh, good. No, it's not chaos. I call it anxiety. Nothing like bad internet and broken memory cards, am I right?
Jose has had a hell of a trip.
Yes, thankfully he will be rewarded with a fight that he has been looking forward to forever. The Brian Ortega versus Korean Zombie Chan Sung Jung matchup. I think Jose has been wanting this matchup for like 3 years or something. He has wanted to see Brian Ortega and Chan Sung Jung fight forever. It's been dangled in front of him tantalizingly since December of last year, I think, when it was actually booked. And then all this stuff happened. And then they kept talking about it, but it was not officially rebooked until now. Excuse me. And now we have it. We are 24 hours away. Fingers crossed. Of course, as Jose always says, nothing is official until the two guys are in the cage. Especially during these COVID-19 times. Living in this bubble, this Abu Dhabi, the Fight Island bubble, there's just a lot of weirdness that can happen. But they have made weight. We are on course. We are just waiting now for Katlyn Chookagian and Jessica Andrade. Mike, what do you think of that the co-main event matchup? Not as far as the stakes, I think we know what's on the line, but as far as how Katlyn Chookagian matches up with a very dangerous fighter, taking her first fight at 125.
It's an interesting matchup for Chookagian because obviously she's the bigger fighter. She's got a lot of length on Andrade, but Andrade is, we've seen it a million times how powerful she is. She's a little firecracker. It's an interesting matchup. I like seeing her not have to cut those extra 10 pounds. She just had the loss to Rose Namajunas. So her title aspirations at 115 are kind of on the back burner, at least for the foreseeable future. So her jumping up to 125, she saw an opportunity. She's got a tough matchup to do it, but it's interesting. The longer this stays on the feet, I think this favors Andrade, because eventually she's going to be able to get inside Chookagian, because Chookagian's very good on the feet too. She's very good at using her length and keeping things on the outside. But eventually that Pitbull Andrade is going to be able to get in there and test that chin a little bit. So, and then once it gets to the ground, Andrade is very dangerous on the ground as well. Very underrated ground game. I know a lot of people know her for the slam and some of those big time knockouts that you don't normally see in women's MMA, but once it gets to the mat, things are going to get interesting as well. So I think it's a 50-50 fight, if we're being honest, due to the size and the length of Chookagian. Chookagian's beaten pretty much everybody outside of a close split decision, and then obviously the loss to Valentina. So this is, and again, like you said, the stakes are very high in this fight. Now that Cynthia Calvillo is out of the fight with Lauren Murphy, a win for Jessica Andrade, she could very well get the winner of Shevchenko versus Maia.
Yeah, you mentioned her ground game. She has a killer guillotine choke. I mean, anyone just look at, if you've seen Jessica Andrade, imagine those arms around your neck. You're going to tap out pretty fast. So she has a great jiu-jitsu, great choke. Casey, I want to ask you, as we're talking about her potentially getting the fast track Jessica Andrade to a title shot now.
Ain't the fast track. She's a former champ. Top two ranked.
She was easily.
That ain't fast tracked, bro.
Well, I mean, I don't think they were planning to put her above Calvillo or Lauren Murphy.
I don't know about that, man. If she,
you think with a strong,
I think if she would have, this fight, no matter what happened with the Calvillo Murphy fight, if Andrade just rolls through Chookagian tomorrow, yeah, I absolutely thought she would jump in front of Calvillo or Murphy.
Now, do you think she's also, Casey? Do you think she's also, given that there's really no one almost in any of the divisions outside of Amanda Nunes who has her like finishing ability. Do you see her as the biggest threat at 125 for Valentina Shevchenko?
Yeah. I think Andrade is super good. Even that fight she lost to Amanda Nunes, the rematch. I mean, not Amanda Nunes. I'm sorry, Rose. That was a super competitive fight. It wasn't like it was a blowout. In fact, if that was a 5-round, that was a 3-rounder, right?
It was a 3-rounder.
Yeah, if that was a 5-rounder, like Andrade probably would have won that fight. Remember, from my memory, Andrade like just put a whooping on Rose that last round.
She did a lot of damage.
I mean, like,
if you're going by pride rules,
if you went by pride rules, Andrade won that fight for sure.
Andrade was the winner. Yeah.
But I did have Rose winning legit. Rose had a very strong first 2 rounds. It wasn't one of those, she squeaked out the first 2 and somehow didn't get a 10-8 in the 3rd round. But no, I think Andrade is awesome, and I think without a doubt she's a very legitimate, different type of threat to Valentina, if Valentina gets through Maia.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing. Yeah, with respect, of course, Jennifer Maia. That's the scary thing is you can fight a perfect fight against Jessica Andrade for like 12 minutes. In those last 3 minutes, you are still like an insane amount of danger. She's just so powerful.
Did you just call her the Derek Lewis of the women's MMA?
I mean,
that's what it sounds like. She's the Derek Lewis. Just always a threat. Last second, just gassing out, beat up, boom.
Yeah.
Or Derek Lewis is the Jessica Andrade of men's MMA. How about that?
Something like that. But I think she's also more sort of a constant. Derek Lewis, you kind of know when you see Derek Lewis fight, you kind of know when he doesn't have it in the first 2 rounds. You're just like, okay, he's not going to do anything for the first 2 rounds. Andrade, from like the opening bell, you're just like, at any moment, you're waiting for her to uncoil just some bomb. She has a little more of an ever-present threat than Derek Lewis, which I think is what makes her so exciting. I think, as you guys have said, one of the reasons why the matchmakers are probably very likely to saying, yeah, look, if she puts on a good performance, let's put her in there with Shevchenko. There's not a lot of people that people are convinced can beat Shevchenko, probably including Jennifer Maia. But Andrade, I think we get people to think twice. Andrade will go like, oh, wait a minute now. Like, we know her. We know her as a finisher at 115. You put her in there with...
I mean, it all depends how the fight goes tomorrow. But we've seen Valentina versus Chookagian, and now after tomorrow, we're gonna see what Andrade looks like against Chookagian. So now we have a common opponent. Is that the first? I think that's their first common opponent, I believe. But
I don't.
So there'll be much more conversation about this tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, we'll break it down in the preview show as well, of course.
And by the way, this should have always been the co-main event, by the way.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
this is true.
I mean,
we lost out on Cyril Gane.
Yeah, Cyril Gane. This should have been the co-main event.
Yeah, Cyril Gane and Ante Delige. was the co-main event. Of course, you know, we all know UFC loves the heavyweights. Casual fans love the heavyweights. But as far as contender stakes go, and I think the level of the fighters, this is the right co-main event for sure. So, and
Did you see
again,
why that fight's not happening?
No, what was? Yes. Go ahead, Mike. Break it down. It's controversial. It's juicy.
Yes. So I haven't officially confirmed this, but there are reports out there. The UFC even stated it in their official announcement of this, is that it was a contract issue, and apparently the PFL would not allow him to fight Cyril Gane. They said he was still technically under contract, and they basically put a veto on it, and that's why he's not fighting.
How did this go to the last second though? That
know.
doesn't make like somebody messed up. Somebody messed up because it wasn't like all of a sudden he fought for PFL. You just gotta look on Fight Finder, and that's very there was a big boo boo to go this late in the game.
I mean, we've seen a lot of fighters get released and stuff, and jump over, but I guess this one didn't get figured out. I mean, remember
we've
John
had
Castaneda situation.
Wasn't that a short notice fight though? Wasn't that like this wasn't a short notice. This is like full fight camp.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because Gane was supposed to fight Shamil Abdurakhimov on this card.
This was one of those fights. Okay.
This was a short notice.
There you go. Sorry about that. I feel like every fight's short notice now. So.
Making this PFL UFC and Delija situation a little more bizarre is Delija already fought since signing with the PFL. Fought for another promotion since signing with the PFL. His last fight was not for PFL. His last fight was for KSW. So it's definitely raised some eyebrows. Obviously, it has something to do with, I think PFL would rather their fighters, if they're going to fight for other promotions, not be other promotions in North America. So,
that makes sense.
So there's that difference there. But you're right. The timing is very confusing. How did it get to the stage that Delija had signed a UFC contract, I assume, to fight, step in on short notice and fight Cyril Gane? So we definitely haven't seen this is just probably just the beginning of this story. Of course, some other fighters expressing their displeasure with PFL recently. Lance Palmer. Did anyone else come out publicly from PFL?
Brandon Locknate's come out a little bit and talked about it. I don't know if he's part of this lawsuit or not.
Yeah, regardless though, if he was under contract, UFC either has to buy his contract out or I don't know, someone messed up. I mean, we can get mad at PFL like, but that's their guy. UFC doesn't do that for other guys. No, it's not like UFC lets other guys fight any place else. So it goes both ways. Unfortunate.
Yeah. Like whenever Dana gets a scrum, I mean, I don't even know if he's going to have the answer to that question because he didn't really know about the Castaneda situation. Oh, I think we got a standby.
One of our last three.
Jamie Mullarkey.
Mullarkey. Some great names in
That's
this
a fun
card.
name to say, too. That's a fun name.
Some great names in this card.
Oops, wrong one. Yeah, get out there. Oh, is he not moving? Oh, there we go.
He was taking in the moment.
Yeah. So everyone is actually pixelated in Abu Dhabi right now.
This is exactly. Yeah, this is you're seeing it as it is, people, as if you were there.
That could be Mullarkey. I'm not sure.
Are we getting the hoop?
Yes.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
Hoop of shame. Hoop of shame.
Box of shame.
Cut your hair, Jamie Mullarkey. Cut that. Is that everybody's rocking a mullet?
Commit.
I would never tell someone to cut a mullet ever in normal society. But making weight, if it's like a few ounces, you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's a tremendous mullet too.
So I apologize, everyone out there. I know everyone's like, cut the mullet. Are you insane? And I'm like, hey, guys, he's got a job to do. All right, he's got a job to do.
156 for Jamie Mullarkey.
There you go.
The towel of shame pays off.
The towel of shame pays off. He didn't have to cut off his mullet. He didn't have to go full Ortega, as we call it in the biz now.
There he is. Who did you say he looked like, AK?
Who, Mullarkey?
No, Ortega with the shaved head.
Gillian Murphy from
Yes.
28 days later.
I can't get it on my.
It's the eyes. The eyes. The eyes. It's the shaved head. Also, I guess the mask now. I guess I don't remember if you wore a mask in that movie, but yeah, a little bit of a Cillian Murphy vibe, which I think is not a bad person to be compared to at all. I'm sure Cillian Murphy would also like to be compared to Brian Ortega. So, I'm trying to look for pictures from the last KSW show. We were talking earlier about.
Did you say 28 days later that they needed to wear a mask? Is that would that stop the whole zombie apocalypse if they just weren't a mask?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think was that not the message of that film?
Yes.
Wear a mask. Because guess what, people? That's the message of this stream, all right? If you are watching this stream, you should be wearing a mask, all right? That's all I'm saying.
Inside your home right now.
I'm wearing, you don't know, this is actually a mouth. This is actually like a fake, like this. I'm just wearing a mask that looks like my mouth right now. So it's a gag. No, but I mean, it's obviously we're promote safe things. Unfortunately, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. It looks like we lost a lot of our Korean viewership. I just don't see comments in Korean anymore. Probably they were here. I'm just saying they're probably here to see Chansung Jung weigh in, which he did very early, and it's good. And they're probably excited to see the fight is official. So, but for any of our viewers, wherever you're from, thank you again for tuning in. We're just waiting on two fighters now. John Phillips, an unfortunate recent Hamzat Chimaev victim, and UFC flyweight contender Katlyn Chookagian. Chimaev, I think we should get the Chimaev talk out of the way. It's what people want. Was on Fight Island this week to do some media. I love that UFC is putting him out there. He's very comfortable in front of the media. He's working on doing interviews in English, so he's doing a great job. What do you guys think of some of the comments he's made about, he's willing to fight anyone, obviously, but it's kind of been dismissive of some people. He said, Darren Till, not on my level. He said he might choke out Damian Maia, which would be quite a sight to see. Mike, what do you think of how everyone's boy, Hamzat Chimaev, is doing so far?
Perfect. He's doing it perfectly. I just wish that it's not his fault that his gimmick is not being utilized right now. I mean, you double book a guy. Like, that was the whole story about the Mearshart fight, was double booking him. You fight Mearshart, and then you fight Damian Maia in November. Where is that fight? Where is that fight?
Not official.
No one has any answers. No one has any answers. Like, I understand you're gonna give him his own card in December, and that's great. But now you got to find him a good enough opponent. Like, he's not going to fight Darren Till right now because Darren Till's supposed to fight Jack Hermanson. What happens with Jack Hermanson, maybe you slide him in. We don't want that to happen because we want to see Chimaev get a fight as well. But I think you have one guy who's, besides Darren Till, who already has a fight booked, that has come out and said, I want to fight this guy. It's Neil Magny. Just book that fight. Like, why can't we just make this official? Because Magny wants it. Chimaev's cool with it. Let's just do it.
I think it sounds like Dana's the only one that doesn't want it. Right? I heard that he kind of poo-pooed it, or he didn't really go, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get
like, what's the point?
They ruined. Yeah, I think they're wasting this opportunity with Chimaev.
I completely agree. And I understand why the Stephen Thompsons of the world and the Chris Weidmans of the world don't want to fight him. Like, it's not because they're scared of him. It's just the risk versus reward factor is not there. And that was the thing with the Damian Maia fight that I didn't actually like at the time, because they're saying that this is Maia's potentially his final fight of his career. I just don't like that for his final fight of his career. Damian Maia's not going to be fighting for a title anytime soon, especially if he has one fight left. So give him a Diego Sanchez fight that he's wanted, somebody like that, another legend to go in there with and scrap it up and let Chimaev fight somebody else. But I understand why Leon Edwards and Wonder Boy and those guys don't want to take that fight, because if they win, it's just all right, great. You beat an 8-0 guy or 9-0 guy who wasn't ranked. At least put a number next to Chimaev's name, even if you don't feel like he warrants it. Just give him one, because then it incentivizes some of these fighters to take a fight. Because why, if you're Wonder Boy ranked number 6, why would you fight Hamzat Chimaev right now? It makes no sense.
The only way to take a fight like that is if you get in writing on a contract that if you beat Chimaev, you get the next title shot. Something like that. Or you get to fight the absolute number 1 contender. Especially a guy like Edwards. So it's just I don't. And even the whole we need a big name for him to fight now. No, we don't. We'll watch him fight John Phillips' brother, whoever he is. I don't know. We just want to see that man
Phillips.
in the cage.
Wilson Phillips.
Yeah, Wilson Phillips. So all the Wilson Phillips. Yeah, fight all three of them. You know, like that's all we want to see. We just want to see him in the cage versus a semi-warm body at this point. That's all we want. And then.
Yes, I think we can all agree. Everyone wants to see him compete again. I don't think there's any way that he gets any whoever fights him gets any sort of assurances in their contract, because I think as we know, the UFC loves giving people guarantees in their contracts. That is, that's their favorite thing to do. So I don't see that happening, unfortunately, which again is one of the problems. But I like the suggestion that maybe you at least put a number next to it. You can put him in a tie. They've done ties in the rankings. You can put him in a tie for 15th, just so they can say, yes, he is a ranked fighter. We are matching you up with a ranked fighter. Now sign the damn contract and get your beating from Chimaev. But
he's ranked. He's ranked like number 36 or something. That's
Have you been looking at my secret rankings? Who's been talking?
I listen. I've been saying since Fight Island, give him Cerrone. Like, give him Cerrone, because Cerrone, even though Dana White's like, maybe we should have that conversation. Cerrone didn't look bad in the Nico Price fight. Like, he didn't look tremendous, but he didn't look bad. You can't compare him to like, Diego and BJ Penn and some of those other fighters and Woodley. He was in there. He was competitive, and Nico Price is a tough guy. I mean, Nico Price laid the wood on him in the first round, and he was able to come around, and as he so eloquently put, he got the inner bitch out of him in that first round. He said it, not me. And then, fought to a draw. So, I mean, if Cowboy wants to go, and Cowboy's going to take that fight, Cowboy has a big enough name to justify a main event spot with a guy like Hamzat Chimaev. So if you're not going to do Magny, and you're not going to give, and nobody else in the top 15 will take that fight, Donald Cerrone would absolutely take that fight. I think that was the fight to make from the get-go after Fight Island.
I think before the Nico Price, that fight seemed hot. But I think after the results of that fight and how Donald seemed to be taking the loss, he took it as a loss, and he lost that fight. I mean, he got a fortunate draw with the eye pokes. But I think his performance against Nico kind of soured that potential fight. But yeah, coming into the Nico fight, that definitely felt like a very hot fight to make. But I don't think does Donald really. Didn't Donald say that he doesn't want to fight the rest of the year? I think he is finally backing off and going, all right, I need to rest.
What?
Yeah, I mean, but he also said, like, listen, if they offer me something, I'm probably gonna take it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's money. Like guys like Wonder Boy, Edwards, and stuff. If they can't make guarantees on a title fight for victory, you got to pay him more. Like same with Donald. You want me to come back really soon? Pay me more. That's just how it works.
Some of the commenters not thrilled with the Cerrone suggestion. Eric Kashishian says Cerrone will die. Just my 2 cents. Regular viewer says, God, Mike, why do you want Cowboy to be the first fatality in the octagon?
I don't want it. This is like my 20th option. Okay, but if no one in the top 15 is gonna fight this guy, and we need somebody to fight him, Cowboy will fight him. He will. And Cowboy would be interested. Remember the last time Donald Cerrone fought an up-and-comer who has a lot to say? What happened in that fight? Maybe he fought Alex Hernandez. And listen, Alex Hernandez is not at the level of Hamzat Chimaev in terms of hype and ability and things like that. Not saying nothing wrong with Alexander Hernandez. He came in a big way, knocked out Beneil Dariush, and got thrust right into the top 15. Chimaev's a little bit of a different story right now.
Wi-Fi upload.
He also did it to Miles Jury. Not that Miles Jury was a trash talker. I think Miles Jury was like, oh, they're going to use Cerrone to build him up, and then Cerrone, that was the ass kicking fight.
In those situations.
the literal ass kicking. He does.
I just don't know what to do. Like, out of all the names we said, if there's one person who needs to fight more than anybody, it's Leon Edwards. I don't care who it is. Leon Edwards needs to fight somebody.
He's never fighting again. We're never seeing him.
Yeah, he needs to fight somebody.
Leon Edwards is a concept now at this point, unfortunately, in the UFC's mind.
What a step back for Leon Edwards! Like, what an incredible jump back. I mean, is there a bigger jump back ever than going to face a top 2 championship fight or something to fighting a guy who's ranked maybe number 30?
Yeah, I mean, he just needs to fight anybody, like literally anybody. Like, I don't understand why the Wonder Boy fight isn't happening. Like, that fight makes perfect sense.
For that fight. Yeah, that's on him. He should have campaigned. He shouldn't be saying, I don't want to fight Wonder Boy. I do want to say, Ray2K in the comments said he appreciated me reading his Gamrot tweet. You are very welcome, Ray2K, and as are all the commenters. Leon Edwards, It's crazy that he was in talks for. I mean, I'm not nothing official, but obviously we all thought he was end up getting a fight in Masvidal. Didn't happen. He was booked to fight Woodley. Didn't happen. It's really, he's on an 8-fight win streak. He's had all these things that say UFC contender and a guy who should be headlining cards or at least co-main eventing on pay-per-views, and just nothing. I mean, I don't know if it's his fault, his team's fault, the UFC's fault, but his momentum, whatever it was, has just petered away. It's just petered away, and it's made people like mocking him for his inactivity, which again I don't think is entirely his fault. Some of it is.
No, it's not.
So it really sucks for him. And like you said, we just want to see Leon doing what he's done. He's done so many interviews, I think, in the last year, but not actually fought. Unfortunately, there's nothing he can do. So I think we all just want to see him get back into action. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He should fight Wonder Boy if that fight is brought his way. I know he said he doesn't want to, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I interviewed him right before UFC 251 because Masvidal just got announced to replace Gilbert Burns. And Leon Edwards told me that even before Gilbert Burns was offered that fight, I mean, Masvidal was the first choice. Leon Edwards was the second choice to fight Kamaru Usman, and he couldn't do it because of COVID and all that stuff. Like, their gyms were all shut down. He had nowhere to train, and to get his team all together and things like that because of where they're located, and then get them all on a plane to Abu Dhabi was nearly impossible for them to do in that short a time. So he's gotten his opportunities, but because of COVID and the restrictions, he couldn't take that fight. But now you're in a position where you're not getting a title shot. You're probably not going to fight Gilbert Burns. I know you want that, but it's just not going to happen. So you have to take the next best option, and it's Wonder Boy. Or you just say, you know what, F it, I'll fight Chimaev. Whatever, you got to do something. You have to fight somebody to get some of that momentum back.
Yeah, and for the record, I understand the reticence to want to fight. The Wonder Boy is a guy who makes fighters look bad. Win or lose, he can make fighters look bad. So I get it. But again, if you're Leon Edwards, you gotta just go in there. You gotta have the confidence that you can win that fight, and hopefully in convincing fashion.
Guys, can you little update on the Brian Ortega?
Yes. I wanted to let people know. Go ahead, Jose. I want to let people know about this.
You can talk about it since you're the one that brought it to my attention.
Yes.
Well, I just saw you write it in the Slack.
Yeah. From ESPN, Brett Okamoto. He is reporting from Ortega's manager Tiki Goshen that the reason why Ortega shaved his head is he will be donating his hair to the Locks of Love charity for children who are going chemotherapy. So good guy Brian Ortega.
I told you it wasn't a weight cut. I told you.
Maybe it was both.
You don't come in at night at the very first minute.
Donating his hair to charity, which is
man's a hero. Man's a hero.
Yes, he strayed from the path a little bit. He took a little bit of a heel turn earlier this year when he punched a Korean pop star, Chan Sung Jung's manager, Jay Park, which was just I think all of us at the time, I don't think any of us saw that as Brian Ortega's, I guess it turns out he's actually an a-hole. I think we all kind of saw that as very uncharacteristic for him. A situation that I think spiraled out of control. Not to make excuses, by the way. That was for lack of a technical term, a dickish thing for Brian Ortega to do, and the way he handled it.
Wasn't the Mr. Pop Star? Wasn't he talking a bunch of trash? Talking a lot.
He was.
Hey man.
Well,
street justice, man. Street justice. Yeah. See,
I'll tell you what.
I'm turning your mic off, AK.
Sorry, guys. I think I'm losing my connection here.
Yeah, AK.
I'll tell you one person that was. I wouldn't say he applauded the Ortega move, but Alex Volkanovski did not have a problem with it. Let's just say that. He was like, well, he kind of got what he deserved. You talk that smack, and you got to be able to back it up.
And
when
he just got
when
a slap. That was it. Yeah, Ortega really wanted to go off.
I would say the only thing in that situation that bummed me out was it wasn't face to face. Like, he walked up without Jay Park knowing and slapped him, and then also he approached Jay Park after when Korean Zombie went to the bathroom. So he waited for Zombie to leave, walked up behind Park, and slapped him in the face and dipped out.
Is that what he said? He waited for Zombie to leave?
Face to face. Hold on. Walk up face to. That's pretty much what happened. Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, guys.
Ortega waited for Zombie to leave, like he was afraid of him. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's bad.
So
listen, guys. Look,
Zombie came back.
Sorry, Coach.
What happened? Yeah, and then Zombie came. There's the video footage of Zombie coming back to his seat in the arena. He's like, "What's going on? What happened?" And everyone's filling him in. So, Korean Zombie was sitting next to Jay Park, and then he left to the bathroom or get a refreshment or something. Ortega slapped Jay Park, Jay Park had no idea what was going on, and then Zombie showed back up.
Listen, guys, I'm from the streets, as you know. Anyone who hears me talk can tell I'm from the streets. I'm from the mean streets of Markham, Ontario. It's about as bad as they come. So I understand street justice, okay? But we've all come a long way in our lives, okay? And I think we need to be above these petty acts of violence. I was appalled by the slapping of Jay Park. I thought it was grotesque. And especially Ortega's behavior after, I think he definitely was not apologizing right away. Thankfully, he did apologize. He did issue a very clear and I thought a very good apology later, just completely taking responsibility. None of that, oh, I'm sorry if I offended anyone's stuff. It was like, you know what, I was wrong. I was wrong. I shouldn't have done it. And again, I don't want to make excuses for anyone, but these things get heated. We do things in the moment. We don't think about it. And I do believe, and I wrote about this for the site. I spoke to Brian Ortega. I do believe, and he's done other interviews kind of indicating the same thing, that the lifestyle got away from him. He's rubbing shoulders with Halle Berry. He's getting tweets from Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean? Like he was. I see people saying now, like, was he really that famous? Like at the time, like people forget before the Max Holloway fight how big this guy was getting, like really mainstream big. A lot of people were predicting him to beat Max Holloway. I did because I'm an idiot, but a lot of smarter people than me. That's what I'm saying. A lot of smarter. I'm an idiot, obviously, so my pick shouldn't count. But there's a lot of smarter people than me who also were picking Brian Ortega. So it wasn't just me. And I do think that stuff matters. I do think that all that external stuff matters when you come from the background he's come from. So I'm a sucker. I'm falling into the narrative of it's a new Brian Ortega. I thought the shaved head was symbolic of that change, and it is for a good cause. So I mean, honestly, I'm kind of picking Ortega this weekend.
Wow, you're opening the box already? You're kind of picking him, or you're picking him? Is this breaking news?
I don't know yet. I want to have between now and our preview show to make up my mind. But if I have right now, I'm leaning Ortega.
Wow.
I like Ortega.
It's a good fight. I mean, this is a really good fight.
Yeah. I would love to see. If Ortega wins, I would love to see a rematch with Holloway because I want to see that fight if Ortega doesn't break his hands because he broke his hand in that fight. So and that hurt him big time. So
I mean,
I want to see the rematch. Yeah. So, but he has to get through the Zombie first.
Yeah, and then he gets title fight.
Big ask. A big ask.
Yeah.
This is, boy, you're not fighting in what, almost how long is this? How long is this playoff for?
Yeah, the break, like 2 years at least.
It'll be almost just under 700 days when he steps in the cage again on Saturday. And your first fight back is the Korean Zombie Chan Sung-jung. That's not fun. That's not fun for anybody. It's really fun for us.
I was listening to this program. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it was called the A-Side Live Chat. And there was a very interesting question about what would have happened if that elbow didn't land from Yair Rodriguez. Where would the Korean Zombie be right now? Like, would he be already fighting for the belts? Would he be the champion right now? Like, if Korean Zombie just did things just slightly differently for those like final 2 seconds of that fight with Yair Rodriguez, like where would we be right now? And then all these doors began to open between Casey and Jade Morris and Jose Young's talking about like, would Volkanovski even be the champion right now? Would this have happened? And then it started spiraling in all these different directions with, Jorge Masvidal fighting Darren Till because Darren Till lost Tyron Woodley. Like we've had the resurrection. Like I got lost. Like my mind was exploding listening to this conversation. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy to think about.
Imagine if Chan Sung-jung had just implemented a no hugging policy. I know people don't remember this because of the knockout that was the greatest knockouts we've ever seen. But I think in the last couple of rounds, it was a super exciting fight. Yair, who was losing the fight, by the way, kept like they have an exchange, like, oh, let's hug it out, bro. Let's dap it up. Let's hug it out. And stupid Zombie wasted time and kept like hugging it out. And
Stupid Zombie.
You heard me.
That is his new nickname.
You heard me. I'm mad at Yair for initiating it. The stupid hug, the mid-fight hugging, and mid-fight dapping to me is. I'm not a fighter.
That's a lie. That's a lie. I just watched.
What? Why?
The whole. Oh, guys shouldn't hug. You shouldn't hug during fights. That's BS. I just watched last night. You know who hugged? You know who hugged during a fight in the best fight of the year? Joanna versus Wei Li. They hugged during that fight while they were fighting.
I don't approve.
And they won the best fight of the year.
It could have been the greatest fight of all time. That could have been 2 more seconds punching each other in the face. All right, instead of hugging.
Wow, hey, this is a heel turn from
Sorry.
AK right now.
I'm a lot. That's not a heel.
Stupid zombie.
Stupid zombie.
I think.
Okay,
honestly,
look at you're like Ortega. You wait for all our Korean fans to leave the chat, and now you're saying all this trash. Look at you.
Viewers with the
Okay.
chat.
You even have the same haircut as Ortega. I remember you. Yeah, I think yesterday you had long hair. I'm pretty sure.
I love love. Okay, everyone knows this. I love love as much as anyone. I love post-fight respect. I love the glove touch. Go ahead. Pre-fight, touch him up, boys. In the fight, cut that crap out.
Who made that
I'm
roll
sorry.
up?
And I think it cost Zombie the win. I think it's one of the reasons he lost. Other than getting caught by friggin' 1 in a million shot from Yair Rodriguez. By the way, that shot was almost 2 in a million. Did you see Marcus Perez kind of attempt the same thing against Duplessis?
No.
If you watch the replay of that knockout, I think that's what Perez was going for because he just turns his back and kind of whips his elbow upwards behind him, and it did not come close to landing it, and instead just getting punched upside the head. So if you want to know why we've only seen that move once in history, I mean, it's a crazy move to attempt, much less land clean in the last like 1 second of a fight.
Of a 25-minute fight in the last second, and you're doing it to the guy with maybe the best chin in the 45 division, the best chin, and then you dead him.
Crazy. I mean, that's
Best
better
knockout ever. Sorry,
say,
Mr. Buckley.
That's better than the Joaquin Buckley knockout,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
That's great. Yeah. Mike, who did Joaquin Buckley? Who did he get again? He's already booked, right?
The Beverly Hills Ninja.
Jordan Wright.
Holy crap, that's some good.
That is good matchmaking. That is great matchmaking.
Oh, you did. Mike, you might have mentioned Jordan Wright. Not like it's your number 1 pick, but you might have mentioned him.
I mentioned him, I believe. I think I went with Fluffy Hernandez as my pick.
Yeah. But I think you threw Jordan Wright out there. I think it was one of the names you threw out there.
Yeah.
I think Jordan.
Man, I
like it.
That's perfect.
It's good matchmaking right
That's
there.
a good
Those two
one.
are going to beat the brakes out of each other.
When is this?
And everyone's going to sleep on Jordan Wright, too. November 28th, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, so they got a lot of time. This isn't really a short notice. I mean, it's a little shorter than usual, but.
Oh, is it? No, it's at UFC 250, the 21st.
It's coming in the States.
At 255.
They got a month. Yeah, they got a month. That's like, again, less than usual, but that's.
Are people sleeping on Jordan Wright? Really? I'm picking Jordan. I think Jordan.
I think
It's just
Wright
recency bias type of thing.
No, and also a lot of people were not impressed by Jordan Wright's pre-UFC competition. Again, look, he could only fight who he was booked against, but his pre-UFC competition is very weak. I wasn't surprised when he won his UFC debut. I had picked him to win his UFC debut. I'd seen enough in his fights for sure before that, but there are holes to poke in his resume, as there are with a lot of fighters before UFC. But like there was a lot of, I think, before the UFC, a lot of, like, I think there's some 0-0 guys in there, some guys with like really bad losing records, just inexperienced guys, but logically, this is a very good matchup for both of them. Because not like Buckley's like a super experienced guy either. He's like 12-3, something like that. So
that's plenty of experience. It's just,
yeah, so they're about.
He's
Wright's like 9-0, 10-0.
Yeah, he and Wright's debut for the UFC was at 205. This will be at 185 too. So, 20 pounds lighter.
Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, it's good matchmaking. It's the kind of fight you book Buckley in right now because it's a dude that's going to stand in front of him and throw crazy strikes. So both those guys are gonna. I mean, just to see the type of maneuvering on the feet in that fight, it's gonna be really interesting to watch.
It's a great fight for Buckley. It's a great fight for Wright, and it's a great fight for the UFC because either guy that wins, they can push. So because I think Wright's very marketable. He's good on the mic. He's an exciting fighter. He's unique. Just his personality, who he is as a person. So it's great.
Yeah, it's really, this is like how you ideally want prospects, when you're matching up relatively new UFC guys. This is ideal because let's not forget, Kasanganay was kind of the more hyped guy going into the Buckley matchup.
Absolutely.
And then Buckley gets that crazy knockout, kind of takes his hype. And then, if Jordan Wright, let's say he submits or knocks out Joaquin Buckley, he can take some of that shine. And I don't think it takes anything away from Kasanganay. I don't think a loss takes anything away from Buckley. This is how you want to mix these guys up early on. You give them the chance for exciting finishes, but I don't think anything that's going to hurt the loser's career necessarily in the long run, but can give this really nice short-term boost to the winner as it happens. But Buckley, that KO is going to, I think, last him a long time. I think he's going to be riding this knockout I think forever. But yeah, is it the greatest knockout of all time? I think we're still. It's up there.
No.
It's one of the most athletic knockouts.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
It's probably top 5. It's top 5. It's in the top 5. for sure.
Just
favorites,
based on the
guys.
athleticism.
Yeah. Guys, give us your thoughts on YouTube, whether you thought Joaquin Buckley was the best or throw out your favorite. Mike, what is your personal favorite? It doesn't have to be best. It doesn't have to be like objectively best, whatever. What is your favorite, personally favorite knockout?
It's a good question. I think the one that there's a few that I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened. I think the one that surprised me the most was McGregor Aldo. I mean, that was the one I was just like, you have got to be kidding me right now. That is just ridiculous. So I think for the stakes and how it all played out, especially with the build to that fight and, people still questioning Conor at the time as he was making his way up to that moment. That one I think was just wow, I can't believe that just happened. I think that's the one that kind of sticks out to me. I think Holm versus Rousey gets underrated in a big way in this conversation.
I don't know how people forget, but that one changed the world.
Yeah. I mean, that was a massive knockout. Not just aesthetically watching it's huge. And then just like Casey said, what it did for women's MMA and the entire sport in general, and the path that both of these women took and Ronda's career, that was such a massive knockout. And then obviously Masvidal and Askren was a great one too. And what made that so great was the fact that Masvidal planned that whole thing. He was like, I'm gonna start the fight with the flying knee. This is what I'm going to do. And he did it. And the same thing with McGregor Aldo. Finding out that McGregor is this is exactly how it's going to play out is just ridiculous. And I think that and that's why this conversation is so interesting. It's kind of like the pound for pound conversation and the GOAT conversation. Everyone looks at it and have their own opinions in their own ways. Some knockouts look better to some people than it does to maybe me or AK or Casey. So that's why this is such a good conversation. It's not an argument kind of a conversation. It's a very constructive, oh yeah, I see where you're coming from kind of a conversation.
No. It's an argument, and there are right and wrong answers. And YouTubers, you will be shamed if your answer is stupid. Casey, you've watched probably as many fights as anyone. What is your favorite knockout?
Turn your microwave off. You're frozen, AK.
Whoa.
Is that just how you look, AK?
I mean, there's
Did we lose
Crow
AK?
Cop. Yeah, Crow Cop's had some amazing knockouts. Rampage doesn't get in the conversation that often. Powerbomb.
Rampage, the Rampage Vanderlei knockout in the UFC. The UFC one.
Was that one too, yeah.
That was one. But I love how Rampage has been on opposite ends of giant knockouts. I love guys who fight like that. They just live and die in there. Best knockout.
The Arona KO was an illegal headbutt.
It was a headbutt. It was a headbutt. Thank you. It was a headbutt.
Illegal headbutt.
It was a headbutt.
One of the greatest MMA highlights ever. I'm sorry, the Arona slam was an illegal headbutt. I am full heel today. Sorry, Casey, go.
What was the question? Greatest knockout, in my opinion?
Or favorite knockout?
Ronda, Holly Ronda, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. Because it crossed over. It was such a remember Ronda right before this, she was on the cover of Ring magazine. Yeah. No,
Yep.
I don't think a hype train has been derailed so magnificently. I can't even say that word anymore. Has Holly Holm's knockout, and remember, and even the line going, I think Holly was a plus 2 million. She was, I think, plus 700 going into that fight.
It was crazy.
Yeah. And actually, I picked Holly to win that match, but not that way. I thought it was gonna be a very boring. I thought Holly was gonna be able to circle the whole. I thought that fight was gonna go how the Aldana fight was gonna go. To be honest, with Ronda just chasing Holly the entire 25 minutes, and I thought Holly was gonna win like that, but no. I underestimated Ronda's aggressiveness. But that fight was just so. And remember, that fight was in Australia. It was in Melbourne, I think, and it was in front of 40,000 people. It was
record at the time.
And just hearing that crowd, it was the weirdest moment because it wasn't I was at Weidman, Silva, and things like that, where the crowd was just shocked, but just they were excited to be there though, just to witness it. But when that happened, when Ronda got knocked out, because it was a process. It wasn't just this out of nowhere. It was this build up to it, and it was so interesting hearing the crowd kind of not turn, but like just like, oh my god, we're witnessing history here, and it was just exciting. Yeah. And so violent. It's still one of the most violent knockouts ever you're going to see in the sport.
If you ever want to see someone like fight the perfect fight, like Holm has not looked better since, probably has not looked better before. Like that was the perfect fight. It looked like a movie where it's just like she was 20 steps ahead of Ronda Rousey. It's just everything, she was so on point that it looked like she could have beaten anybody that night. It was crazy. I do want to apologize to regular stream viewer Watch My 666 who loves the Arona Powerbomb and is very upset with me for calling it out. Yeah, it's a great highlight. It's one of the greatest clips ever. I mean, I think it's one of the clips that I think probably got me into MMA. And then it wasn't until sort of later I broke it. It's a great knockout. I'm just saying it's a little illegal. It was the headbutt. It was the headbutt that knocked him out, not the slam. Sorry, I stand by it. Jose.
Speaking of knockouts,
please.
Speaking of knockouts, did you see James Vick got released?
Yes. We saw. Yeah, I don't know when we reported.
So
it, but
how long before we get James Vick versus Michael Venom Page?
Oh, speak it into existence.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I actually, when you first mentioned that, I kind of got queasy, but now that I'm thinking about it a little more, yeah, I'm down. I like it.
Well, I'm glad he's had like a breather too. Like he can, recharge the batteries a little bit after the Nico Price fight. And then we can see where he's at. Yeah, he's out hunting and being a dad and doing all those cool things to kind of, he's still training and stuff, but gets him out of like fight camp for a little while and can focus on himself a little bit.
Yeah, he had a run of rough knockouts there. And there was a point where it's like, this guy just needs to, don't worry about, like, if we were doing on to the next one back then, we would have said, we're not matching him up. He needs to just take time off. So hopefully, healthy and everything. And it was released. I think we don't know. I don't know if that necessarily precludes not re-signing with the UFC, right? He could come back, but I guess we assume he's
well, he wasn't. To be fair, Vic wasn't released by the UFC. His contract expired with the Price fight, and they opted not to renew it.
He opted not to renew it, or the UFC didn't give him.
No, the UFC opted not to renew.
Oh, the UFC. Oh, sorry, UFC opted. I thought you meant Vic opted.
Right.
Sorry.
Yes, I don't. So until he signs with someone else, technically we don't know. But yes, as of now, I guess not on the UFC roster.
He's got a lot of options. There's Bellator. There's what's the other one? Man, why am I not thinking of it? Hold on, let me find it.
Brave.
There's Brave, but there's a returning promotion now too. I'm trying to. I just want to make sure.
MMA?
XFC. XFC is back. They're on NBC Sports. Their first card's November 11th. They get a lot of like UFC vets. Like Andre Sukumtaz is headlining. Jessica Aguilar's there. They're signing like a lot of big name fighters, like big name free agents. So they're going all in. I don't know if they have the kind of money that Vic would be looking for, but that's an option too if he wants to stay in the States and he doesn't sign with Bellator or any of these other promotions. So there's options.
It would be so ironic, though, for James Vick to go to Bellator or another organization when he was the guy that was trash-talking Gaethje for fighting in the little league, like the kiddie leagues and stuff. And I remember when he said that, I was like, bro, don't. That's like the worst route to go with as a prize fighter. It's like oh, that never ends up well
Don't burn bridges before you've even come close to them, right?
Yeah. I don't think he wanted to do that though. You know what I mean? Like he started running off all these wins and he couldn't get like a top 15 guy or a top 10 opponent, and like he deserved it meritocracy wise, but he was trying everything. Like winning and getting finishes wasn't enough to get him those fights. So he was just like, all right, well, what do I have to do? I'm just gonna go and do a bunch of interviews and just rip everybody to shreds.
But he was already booked against Gaethje. He was already booked. It didn't like he had the fight was already made. I think.
But if he was like super respectful, nice James Vick and like won a decision over Justin Gaethje, would it have done much for him at the time? Probably not. But him talking trash and turning heel, that's how you.
Oh,
that's just it.
Gaethje grabbed that evilness and took it. Yeah,
Sure did.
yeah. So
sometimes it pans out for you, and sometimes it doesn't.
I mean, it worked out for Gaethje perfect because he used that because remember Gaethje was on a two fight losing streak at that time.
Yeah,
Gaethje was on a 2 fight, and if Gaethje would have lost to James Vick, good lord, the world, like the lightweight, like everything changes. Gaethje's right on the UFC.
Everything changes.
If Gaethje loses to Vick that night for some odd reason, twist his ankle, I don't know, but yeah, everything changes.
Right?
I like how that's the only way James Vick is going to beat Justin Gaethje. Jose, we didn't get your. I'll chime in out last, but we didn't get your pick for your favorite knockout.
Yeah.
Favorite
or objective, or if you want to make an argument for objectively best, whichever you feel like talking.
Well, we talked about it on the A side. I kind of agree with Casey with the chance on Jung getting KO'd by Yair, mostly because I was about 10 feet away from it. The MVP on Cyborg was rough because he literally broke the man's face.
You're just going on pure violence. I like it.
There's a few that aren't MMA, but I guess over Barahari, I still have like a little nick scar on the back of my head when I jumped out of my chair and hit my head on the ceiling fan because I didn't expect that the first time kickboxing. The Brett Rogers Fedor one was pretty bananas too.
Yeah.
That was
the Fedor I lost.
Well, Brett Rogers
short for a while.
Remember that gif of Brett Rogers' head flying off and like hitting the camera?
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
Pretty sure that's the same punch he knocked out Rampage with too, Fedor. Gonzaga at Crow Cop is big for me just because he Crow Cop's Crow Cop.
Yeah,
and that was like a Crow Cop had won. He'd get like talk about like stakes because it was like wasn't that I don't know if that was his UFC debut or not. I can't quite remember. I think he might have won before. And then if he had beaten Gonzaga, he would have got. I think he would have fought Randy Couture at the time, or Sylvia, one of those guys. And the fact that he got Crow Cops and Gonzaga took the title fight, like he talked about stealing shine a little earlier. Like Gonzaga took that violently from Crow Cop.
I want to say Crow Cop he debuted against Eddie Sanchez.
Yeah, it wasn't his first fight, but
familiar.
Something
like that.
I know it wasn't
his
first fight. I can't remember.
Yeah, but the Gonzaga fight was definitely a sort of a showcase fight for Crow Cop for sure. No, this was supposed to be the fight, but yeah.
Yeah. The Valentina I one was pretty violent.
Because the sound.
Selfishly, Casey, I know you remember because the interview that everyone uses when she's like, when someone asks her about the bulletproof vest and she's like, oh, it's not covering her head, this and that. Like that's our interview. So, like the fact that she said that and she kicked her in the head was just like perfectly timed.
You're also, Jose, a massive baseball fan, and that was the exact sound someone makes when they get the head of the bat on a ball and just like it's a no doubter home run. That's like the exact same. You could dub the sound of that kick over like a home runs highlight, and it would like you wouldn't know the difference. Like that was scary. The sound of that.
That sound, that sweet spot, the shin. Yeah.
I think a really underrated one I think was Dong Kim and John Hathaway, I think it was, with the spinning back elbow between the eyes.
Was that a main event?
Sense. It was.
Yeah.
In China.
Yeah, main event in China too. Yeah.
And then that's when I asked Dan Hardy about this and at the media day scrums about Buckley because if you remember, Dong Kim's next fight was against Woodley, and he kept trying to hit this really spectacular looking stuff because he was coming off that knockout. I asked him if that's a problem. He's like, yeah, as a coach, you really have to rein your fighter in so they're not just going. Because remember, let's also, like, if you go rewatch that fight, like, he went for a spinning back fist and Woodley just caught him. Like, he knew it was coming. So I think it kind of fed it, like, Dong like he was trying to get another crazy knockout.
He hungry.
He didn't, obviously. He got KO'd himself.
Where is Stun Gun? He's not retired. I don't think. He's not released. He wasn't released. He hasn't fought since he lost to Colby Covington, June 2017. Where is injuries? Maybe just dealing with injuries. Where is Dong Hyun Kim?
I have no idea.
People, if you guys in the comments know who Dong Hyun Kim is, please.
Our
please let us know.
Korean fans, our Korean friends, if you've seen Dong Hyun Kim, tell them to say hi.
Yeah, if anyone knows, I will. I assume you guys are only writing truthful statements, so please let us know where Dong Hyun Kim is, and we'll tweet those out as reports from the official MMA Fighting Twitter account. So, and we'll credit you. We'll credit you no matter how obscene your name is. We will give you credit. Guys, my favorite.
Don't say that.
I'm not gonna do it.
I blew up on the Patriots when they did their millionth Twitter follower. I don't know if you remember that.
What did they, oh no! What did they do?
The Patriots said their millionth Twitter follower would get like a custom jersey, and man, it was something like that, and it blew up in their face because there were some awful words in the Twitter name.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, we have people saying, I've heard of this too. Kim is he's a TV star now. He does a lot of Korean TV. I don't know if he's an actor or like just a host. I don't know if he's like a Michael Strahan type of guy over there. Just talking.
I could see that. Yeah, but I wonder why. But he could do that and fight as well, right? I don't know. I'm of course I'm sure he can, maybe some travel restrictions now.
I remember back then even he was having contract disputes, and I know there was already money issues back then. Sure. UFC
could have just been contract expired and
just like hey.
That's it. We will find that. I'm going to look into that. I want to find this. I want to know because I loved watching Stun Gun fight. But it doesn't surprise me he's a TV star. I apologize for objectifying any fighters, but sharp like cheek, sharp features. Definitely a TV man, as we'll say. So let's move on to classier. Oh, wait, I want to talk about my favorite.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Yes, I'm sorry. This is a deep cut. This is definitely not on like anyone's list. And I don't know why. It used to be on all those greatest UFC knockout montages, but I don't know what happened to it. I love Spencer Fisher's knockout of Matt Wyman is one of my favorites. So for anyone who doesn't remember this, you can just find this on Fight Pass or find it if someone has. I'm sure someone has a clip done for Twitter or something. It was a classic. Fisher stung him with something, a clean shot.
Got movement.
Some movement, perhaps.
Okay, I will romanticize.
Sorry, I mean I know. Okay, you got a great story about Spencer Fisher.
I will wax poetic on this knockout in a moment.
I knew you were going to do a deep cut too.
Everything you guys named was great. I mean,
is that your favorite, or you just like that one? You think it's underrated?
It's like my favorite. Well, I don't know. This Buckley one really friggin' blew my mind.
I just think it's too low level on the UFC.
Is it Katlyn Chookagian or John Phillips?
Oh, I want to see more shaved heads.
Next fight to the scale, 1/2 of your co-main event in the flyweight division, Katlyn Chookagian.
Okay, Chookagian.
With Sajara Eubanks intel.
Oh, yeah, look at Eubanks made the trip.
$126 for Katlyn Chookagian.
126 Saturday's flyweight co-main event with Jessica Andrade now official, and we are just waiting on middleweight John Phillips with plenty of time to spare. Mike, do you wanna hit him with the rundown? We got half an hour to go, one guy left. How are we doing so far, Mike?
We're doing pretty good.
On the last fight, he's on his way, and then we'll do face-ups.
He's on his way.
White Mike Tyson is on his way. All right, so running these down. Main event is official. Brian Ortega and the Korean Zombie both weighing in 146. Co-main event now official as well. Jessica Andrade and Katlyn Chookagian both weigh in at 126. Featured bout in the light heavyweight division, Modestas Bukauskas versus Jimmy Crute. That is official, 206 pounds apiece. Cláudio Silva versus James Krause, both weighed in at 171. Thomas Almeida versus Jonathan Martinez. Bantamweights fighting at featherweight, 146 apiece. Mateusz Gamrot and Guram Kutateladze, 156 apiece. Gillian Robertson, 125 and a half. Poliana Botelho, 125. Jung Park at 185, still waiting on John Phillips, who is apparently on his way. Ziam, 156, taking on Jamie Mullarkey at 156 as well. Gadzhimurad Antigulov, 206, taking on Maxim Grishin at 205 and a half, and then Saeed Nurmagomedov, opens the card. He weighed in at 136, taking on Mark Striegel, making his UFC debut, weighed in at championship weight, 135 pounds.
So there we go. So that's, I think, 21 out of 22 of our fighters today, all on weight. No issues so far, thankfully. Main event, co-main event on point. Some highly anticipated fights. So it's good to see everyone, at least for now, rearing and ready to go. So I just want to finish talking about, Spencer Fisher versus Matt Wiman. People just look it up. It's a great KO. Fisher stings Wiman with something, and then Wiman does the classic shake his head. Nah, I'm fine. Literally within three seconds later, Fisher throws his flying knee right up the middle. Just lands clean and just crumples Wiman. It just ends him. It's a beautiful, beautiful moment, and not for Matt Wiman, I'm sure, but for Spencer Fisher and for knockout fans everywhere. So that's one of my personal favorites. I want to go to the YouTube comments. We have someone mentioned Darren Elkins KO of Bektic, a great one. It's a good, very good.
It was a good comeback. It was a great comeback.
Yeah, you have to really watch the whole fight. I think as a clip, it's like good. If you watch the whole fight, the moment was crazy. Rashad and Chuck. That KO made people so mad when it happened. People did not want to see Rashad beat Chuck Liddell at the time. Dude, I thought he broke Chuck's neck. I remember when I saw that punch, I thought he broke his neck.
Can I tell you a little insider thing about that fight? So it's old enough news. Where I can probably kind of tell a little secret. I don't know if it's been said publicly, but I was talking to Greg Jackson about that knockout, because he was coaching Rashad at the time, of course. And if you remember, I think that knockout came in the second round. Is that right? Second round. Do you remember the first round of that fight?
Not well.
You don't remember because it was extremely boring. The crowd started booing, and that was by design. They actually wanted a fight super boring, super tentative, because they wanted the crowd to boo. They wanted to use that against Chuck, so Chuck would then get over aggressive and come into the overhand because he wants to get the crowd hyped up. And that was the shot they were always going to land, and just beat him to that when he throws it overhand. But the game plan was to be boring, which I thought was like, wow, that's awesome.
That's also my game plan. Anytime I'm on stream or anytime I'm writing, and I think it's worked pretty well for me as well. I think people would agree that's.
You were the Rashad Evans of the stream. For sure.
Thank you. But hey, those sport killers. Let me tell you something. They knew what they were doing because he won the title shortly after that. So, but that was a really scary KO. I remember, and I feel
where were you when you saw that?
God, I think it was at a friend's house or something.
Friend's house. So
I remember I was gasped.
In general, was everyone into that? Was everyone into Chuck at the time? Was it like everyone's Chuck, or is it like?
No, I remember it was a bit. I think I actually was with a crowd that actually kind of liked Rashad. I think they enjoyed some of his antics and some of his antics on Ultimate Fighter and stuff like that. And I think they actually kind of liked him. I think they thought he was going to lose, but I think that's why they were like pleasantly surprised when he knocked Chuck out. I don't think anyone expected him to knock Chuck out.
I remember I drank for free that night because I picked Rashad, and everybody I was with at the bar that night picked Liddell, and we bet like tabs on it. And nice. Rashad comes through with a big knockout, and it was one of those things you couldn't celebrate too much because Chuck was out. That was a scary knockout.
Yeah.
So you couldn't like dance around and celebrate because normally you'd be like, oh, let's break it down to pennies so I could shower myself with them with all of your money. But that one you just were like, okay, I'll just I'll drink the $2 beer.
Gosh, you Massachusetts boys really know how to party, I'll tell you.
Yeah, we don't mess around.
That was reminiscent of knockouts where you go, oh my god, then you're like, oh my god, like they're dead. I think of that when I think of when Rose got spiked by Andrade. You're like, oh, that was a crazy knockout. Oh my god, Rose is dead. I got it. Yeah. Like not. Yeah.
We would have had that moment with the Kasangana if he hadn't immediately been woken up by the mat. He fell completely stiff. And then his head hit the mat, which woke him back up, and probably was not good for him in the long run. But I mean, at least it made it less scary. Let's kind of enjoy that moment like as it happened. But that was scary. I see someone say someone must have a Mark Hunt KO on mind. Really, there's that run of Mark Hunt KOs. Take any one of those. You can have
a lot of walk-offs.
A lot of walk-offs. He was on a run there, right? Where you're just like he was just smoking people.
One note was like one that really like got me crazy, and I just thought about it. Remember when Frank Mir knocked out Todd Duffy? That was a crazy fight. I was like, oh my god, Frank Mir. Frank Mir is going to get knocked out here, and then he comes out of nowhere and lands like the weirdest right hand and puts him away. I was like, I remember like watching that and screaming. The other one that doesn't get talked about enough. I mean, maybe just because of the stakes of it all. It wasn't a title fight or anything, but Phoenix Carnivale talked about it on Between the Links. Rich Franklin's knockout of Nate Quarry. That was a really wild knockout.
Oh, title
That
fight.
was a title fight.
Title fight, right?
That was
Yeah, that was a title fight. Yeah, that was a title fight.
Dude,
that
a little overmatched.
That was in the that knockout has been in UFC promos for years. That was
Amazing.
like
Yeah,
that was
but never really talked about.
Just flattened him.
yeah, because the way yeah.
Someone said Congo and Pat Barry. Again, that's more comeback. Greatest comebacks. Again, that's more. You gotta watch that whole sequence to just be like, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah, that was crazy.
High stakes, high level fighters. Josh Thompson, Eve Edwards.
Yeah.
One of the greatest knockouts ever.
That was a good one too.
Like how many knockouts have you seen like that?
Here's a recent one.
Yeah.
Kevin Lee on Gillespie. Head kick.
Oh yeah, that was
just a clean, nice clean head kick.
Yeah.
You know, just.
It was just a clean head kick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a basic head kick.
That's what it was. That's what made it so good. It was just I think it was just jab switch. Cross head kick. Yeah, 2 and then follow with the head kick. It was very basic. It was just clean. And Gillespie hasn't shown up since. He's still. Is he retired? What's going on with Gillespie?
No. He's just again taking some much needed time off. Take all the time off.
All the time. Yeah, you taking that time.
It hasn't even
off.
been a year yet.
Hasn't it? It feels long. I mean, but for a guy that was, if he would have beat that fight, he would have been like a top 5 fighter. You know, and he just.
Yeah.
We also have for head kicks. Not head kicks. I was just trying to think of some more knockouts. Lawler Manhoof from the Strikeforce era is a big one.
Yeah,
Robbie Lawler Manhoof. That was a good one.
Manhoof was kicking the crap out of his leg and like.
Jose
Aldo's, and Lawler's
double big cut Swanson's a good one.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a crazy one.
I think Dos Santos Verdun was big because that was JDS's first fight. And the UFC also Phillips is right here. He's about to weigh in.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, we have to mention one, which after. Which I don't know how we haven't mentioned.
186 for John Phillips.
186 John Phillips. So 22. That is it for the weigh-ins, everyone. The official weigh-ins this morning or this early evening almost now in Abu Dhabi. There you go, guys. You can see the results there. Before we do the rundown, I do want to say we've left out one huge guy. One of you guys might have thrown out in passing, but I saw some in the comments. Edson Barbosa, of course, the wheel kick of Terry Edom, which was, of course, mentioned immediately in the wake of the Joaquin Buckley KO, because it's like we're talking about, greatest spinning kicks ever, and of course, so we apologize for forgetting Edson Barbosa. Had many great striking highlights, but especially that wheel kick was right up there. So, 22 out of 22. Mike, how did everybody do?
They did well. They all made weight.
Okay, hang tight for about 20 minutes, get some refreshment, make yourself comfortable, and we'll be back with face-offs very soon.
Thank you, Dan. So we'll run through one more time. Ortega, please. Korean Zombie, 146 apiece. Jessica Andrade, Katlyn Chookagian, 126 apiece for the co-main event. Featured bout, Modestas Bukauskas, Jimmy Crute, 206 apiece. Claudio Silva and James Krause, 171 each. Almeida, Martinez is official, 146 apiece. Gamrot versus Kutateladze, 156 apiece. Robertson, Botelho, 125.5 for Robertson, 125 for Botelho. Jung Park, 185, taking on John Phillips at 186. Fares Ziam, 156. Jamie Mullarkey, also 156. Gadzhimurad, Antigulov, 206. Maxim Grishin, 205.5. And then the first fight of the night, Saeed Nurmagomedov weighs in at 136, taking on Mark Striegel, championship weight, 135.
Thanks, Mike. I could be mistaken, but I think this is our second week in a row where everyone made weight. I think we had a little bit of drama last week. I think Ali Al-Kaizi came in at like the last 5 minutes or something like that, but he made it.
He did.
So knock on whatever wood you guys happen to have around you. But this is 2 straight official weigh-ins with no weigh-in gaps. So good Good on everyone for being professional. Truck, what are we doing for the stare down? We have about 20 minutes left in the allotted weigh-ins time, so they're probably going to wait to the top of the hour to do anything. But what do we think? What are we saying for the weigh-in stare downs?
Oh, just why don't you just stay with MMA fighting and listen to our wonderful music, and we'll be back with the stare downs and top of the hour.
All right, everyone. For Mike Heck, Jose Youngs, and EKC Leiden, this is Alex Lee. I'm signing off for now, but we will be back with you shortly in about 20 minutes for the stare down. So please don't go anywhere and enjoy the music.
no slight headaches. Does it feel like, hey man, fight week again, like back in the mix of everything again?
All this right now, just walked in, I just felt it. Yeah, like everything's been no people, so just kind of virtual interviews and whatever. So it feels kind of like you're just going through the motions, but it doesn't really feel too fight weekish. But yeah, I walked in the room, I didn't expect to see all you guys here. So it's cool, man.
Does it feel exciting? I mean, even though like it didn't feel like really fight week until now, were you getting that kind of the butterflies, whatever, that feeling of like being close to a fight again? I mean, were you starting to feel that excitement?
No, yeah, I feel it. You're sleeping, you're thinking about it, fucking waking up, throwing uppercuts and shit. Like, like thinking about the fight and what you're gonna do, and like it's just constantly in your head about Saturday or Sunday right here, right? But yeah, that's still there. That hasn't left. But the whole media and like there's a regular fight stuff, and then there's the other fight stuff that you have to do. So it's like that I haven't felt too much of.
Right.
Which is actually kind of like a good thing for me. It just kind of lets me focus still more on what the task that's ahead of me. And yeah.
I know so much of this time away has been about reinvention, right? Like things around you, within yourself, all those things. I mean, it sounds like it's been a lot. I mean, but if there was like one biggest thing or one key thing, is there something you can point to and say, man, this was the most important?
I think I just feel free now, man. Yeah, for me, I feel free. Before I didn't feel free. Now, with everything that's happened, I feel free, I feel happy. And for me, ultimately, that's why I joined this, because that's what MMA made me feel like. When I fight, I used to fight for free, like $50, $100, like, but I loved it. When I would go in there, I would feel this way. And then somewhere along the lines, I lost it. And then now I got it back. So for me, that was a big victory for me, to look at my team and say, I'm fucking happy with what we're doing, with how we're living, with how we're reacting with each other. And that for me already is like, yeah, I'm free again.
Was it freedom of losing, or freedom of like not feeling like you had to live up to somebody else's expectations of who?
Yeah, all of it, man, all of it. The freedom of losing, like you name it, like pressures and all that was there. And then to top it off, some other things that I'll probably never talk about till maybe way later in my life that happened. Everything, man, everything.
So you get everything going in the right direction, and then all of a sudden we find out days before you get here, like Henry's not going to be around. I thought his message was pretty strong, but how did that affect you? Were you like, what the hell is going on here, man?
He called me like at 9 something in the morning, and I sleep in. So I was like, he's like, hey man, like it's positive, I can't go. I'm like, yo, stop fucking with me, bro. Like too early for this shit. Cause we're in the hotel, we're all joking with each other, right? He's like, bro, would I wake you up and call you? I was like, are you serious or you're still joking? I was like, cause I'm about to fall for this shit. And yeah, he was serious. I guess he had it during training camp, and then he did his 2 weeks quarantine, everything. He wasn't sick, right? Where he was bad. Retested, did like because I guess there's all these kind of tests you can take, right? I guess the most accurate one is the PCR test. So he took a couple PCR tests and he came out negative. I was like, all right, cool, we can train again. Started training again, and then life was good. Then we get here, or we got to Vegas for the quarantine, and he did his first test. And yeah, I got the call. It was like, yo, I'm negative, this and that, or I'm positive. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, what does that mean? I was like, well, you don't have it, dude. Like, tell him take another one. It's like, maybe like it just had a bad read or something. Like they have the false positives and all that. So I was thinking, maybe you got a false positive, dude. Like, get another one. If it's negative, then you're negative. He's like, yeah, I told him about that, but he said if I fly here to Abu Dhabi and the test here in Abu Dhabi test positive, he has to be locked up somewhere in here for 2 weeks.
Right.
And I felt what it was locked up being here for 2 days. So I can't picture being locked up here for 2 weeks. Like, I can do it, but I wouldn't want. I'd sneak out the room or something. Yeah.
if you buy into what Henner said, I mean, it seems like a strong message where he said, look, man, obviously I'd love to be in the corner, but the one thing that you definitely don't need is help in your jiu-jitsu. I mean,
yeah.
Do you buy that?
Yeah. But he knows it. I know it. When he's with me, it's more because we started together, you know, when I was 13 years old. That's it. Sometimes he doesn't even need to talk. As long as you're there, I'm like, I just feel it feels good to have a homie there, right? So you're like, bro, out of this sport that I've done, I've known you the longest. So it just feels good to have a homie on the journey with you, right? But now it's like, all right, let's get to work. We're still working. Maybe it'll make me better, you know? Who knows?
This fight, obviously, everybody's excited about it, man. There's been a journey to get here.
Yeah.
Is it a grudge match for you? I mean, we know kind of what the history was and how it played out. Is this a, you know, kind of an emotional grudge match for you?
No, man, not at all. Not at all. I could see how it can be seen that way by my actions. But it was, I think ultimately it was like, yo, we're talking too much. And I'm starting to get pissed. And then now little people are chiming in and shit. So it's like, if you really want to go to war with me, this is the beginning. Like, I can get petty as fuck. I don't want to. It's unprofessional, right? As I'm sure all you guys know. I don't have to tell you. I should know, but it's not the worst case that's happened in the UFC. Yeah. So, yeah. But I think it was very clear, kind of like, yo, let's stop this shit and let's just do what we started with, which was we started with a good start. The whole world had the eyes on us, and we didn't have to be the shit talkers or nothing. And then somehow along the way, you decided to go back to it. So I was like, all right, man, like.
It's still a big fight, like you said, without any trash talk.
Yeah, man. Like you have great finishes. You're on a streak. I have great finishes. I'm gonna come back. I'm hungry. This fight sells itself. Your style, my style, the way we collide. You know, Abu Dhabi, I hope, has good hospitals because we're both going to be in that shit by the end of the night. But yeah, man, it's like there's no need. Trash talk or not, you know, like I have nothing but bad intentions for him when we both get in there.
You know, this journey has been about you kind of returning and getting back and getting the passion again, that sort of thing. So knowing that, when you get in there, are you thinking about rankings, where this puts me? Does this give me another title shot? I mean, are you thinking about those things, or is this more just about you getting back to you and your passion and your journey?
This was all about just kind of coming back, taking a fight that's not easy, right? Because everyone knows something like this happens, they're like, oh, let's rebuild them again or do something. I was like, I don't need rebuilding in the fight world. I need rebuilding in the training world. I got my rebuilding in the training world. I go in the fight world. I'm in this sport to fight the best. That's why I love this shit. Because it's like, yo, let's test your will against mine. Let's test your chess pieces against mine. Let's go to war. And ultimately the fans win, everyone wins. But for me, that's like I don't know why. Like fighters could tell you, but we love that shit. You know, we love going in there, you know, like we love testing our will against each other. We love fighting. And we get paid for it, you know? So it's like, this is beautiful.
Last thing
for me, that's what it was.
I'll say last thing for me, man. I mean, obviously your last one out was an absolute epic war, but you've had some, you know, dominating.
It was a banger,
well,
man,
so.
Yeah.
So what are we going to see? I mean, when you play this one out, I mean, I can't imagine you want to put your body through that again, but it sure was one hell of a night. So what do you want to do? Do you want to go out there and have another kind of epic performance like that, or do you feel like you want to go and dominate somebody?
Bro, I will take whatever I can get, obviously. If I get a quick knockout, if I get a submission, the name of the game is to win. Obviously, you can tell I'm emotional, right? So it might go to a war. I might piss my team off. Well, fuck it.
Ryan, you mentioned that the car's going around and your sleep schedule. Sleep's been something fighters keep talking about here in Abu Dhabi. Is that something that genuinely concerns you?
No, they started later at night. I was just joking a little bit. Yeah, they like started at 11 or something at night. I'm awake by that time. But yeah.
Do you regret the incident with the slack and stuff like that?
Do I regret it?
Yeah.
What slap?
Not to Jay Park.
I don't know who got slapped.
We were in here earlier with Zombie, and he was saying that, personally he might not have a whole lot of respect for you, but as a fighter, he said he was amazed by some of the things you achieved. Is that a mutual feeling?
Yeah, I guess you can say that. There's some certain things I still can't answer. Got a 1-year case still open.
I feel you can't answer. You don't meant to mention that as well.
When we spoke with Makwan Americani before his fight, he was also going through some things, and he said he had to burn a lot of bridges so he could fall back in love with fighting. Is that something you had to do too?
Yeah, man. I had to burn a couple solid relationships that I thought were solid. Hire new people and then get back on there, right? And then it was like the whole process of everything, of everyone. Like, yo, you meet this guy, you meet this guy, this guy meet this guy, this guy meet this guy. Cool. We all sit down, we all talk. It's like, then we have to just from here move on and build and grow. Yeah, man, it was interesting ride.
And then he had mentioned there was a very specific moment where he was looking in the mirror and he kind of realized everything around him needed to change. Was there a specific moment you remember where that all hit you?
Yeah. In the elevator when I was taken into the hospital after I fought Max. That's when I realized right after this, I'm done. I was like, this is it. I go, when I come back, I go, all these people are gone.
And then when Zombie and his coach were in here, he said everyone keeps asking about your grappling versus his grappling, this and that, but no one's talking about the striking, and he thinks that's much more interesting to talk about. Do you agree with that assessment?
I mean, the fight's gonna start standing up, dude. So yeah, it makes a point. His striking's good. My striking's good. He likes to bang in a technical way. I like to just fucking bang. Obviously, I've been trying to get better, right? So my goal is here to come and show you guys and do that. And as far as for the ground, I mean, yeah, it's not a jiu-jitsu tournament. If it was, I'd fucking eat him alive. But yeah.
Well, I got the chills.
거 지금 이틀 동안 어땠냐고.
자는 게 일단 너무 힘들고 여기 야스 아일랜드 호텔은 내가 가본 곳 중에 최고인 것 같습니다.
So the sleep is the hardest thing that he's actually had to address. Just flipping everything around, trying to sleep at 10 a.m. so forth. But as far as Yas Island, the hotel, he says it's probably the best hotels he's ever stayed in.
No question. So what the last 11 months have been like? Because, after returning, he had a lot of momentum going, and then we've had to kind of put that on pause because of everything that's happening. Has that been difficult to see that kind of career momentum slow down?
1년 동안 거의 안 싸웠으니까 수술 때문에 어떠냐고. 그때 전에는 2개 스트레이트를 이겨서 그 모멘텀이 생겼는데 지금 천천히 이렇게 느려져가지고 어떻게 생각해요?
근데 뭐 10개월밖에 안 됐으니까 뭐 전혀 그런 건 뭐 늘어졌다고 생각하고 있지 않고 그냥 뭐 오르테가는 지금 2년 만에 나오는 건데 전혀 그 생각 안 하고 있습니다.
So he thinks it's been 10 months, but he says it's only been 10 months. Ortega, it's been 23 months, and so he doesn't think it's too big of a deal. He still thinks he has the ball rolling, the momentum's kind of shifting, and he hasn't skipped a beat.
Very nice. As you said, Ortega, the lengthy time away. I'm curious, what does that change in terms of approach or preparation? I mean, can you expect to see that same guy on tape 23 months later, or do you have to just take that all away?
오티가 2년 동안 쳤는데 그 film 봐서 똑같은 사람인지 아니면 틀리게 나올 것 같아요.
그걸 전혀 예상할 수가 없고 그리고 틀리게 나온다 하더라도 뭐 그거는 내가 이제 어떻게 대응하는지는 내 실력이니까 나를 믿는 것밖에 없는 것 같아요.
So we already answered so many of these questions. I already knew what he was going to say, but let him say it. Yeah, we can only go off the film that we've seen of him, and I think eventually when the fight starts to open up, he is who he is. He's going to come out the way he is. He can only trust what he's prepared to do and what we've kind of planned to do. And so we're kind of expecting a different type of Ortega, but we can only guess. No one can really know how he's going to come out.
Is he happy that this is the fight that was made? I mean, there's so many great names at the top of the division. I know there's history here, but kind of not great history. So is he happy this is the fight was made, or kind of wishes maybe it changed?
이 시합 오르테가 받은 게 행복했냐고, 아니면 다른 애들하고 싸우고 싶었냐고.
사실 나는 할로웨이랑 더 싸우고 싶었는데, 근데 뭐 UFC가 이 경기를 만들고 싶어했고, 뭐 어쨌든 오르테가랑 뭐 해결해야 될 일이 있다고 생각을 하는 것 같아요. 뭐 근데 이거를 뭐 파이트로서 해결해야 된다는 거 자체가 조금 좀 그렇긴 하지만 나는 세계 랭킹 2위니까 내 입장에서는 나도 좋은 시합인 것 같다고 얘기해 주십시오.
He wanted to fight Holloway. Thought that would have been an exciting fight and matchup. The UFC wanted, there's a little bit of attention and bad blood and stuff like that. So, but at the end of the day, he's happy because it's a ranking above him. And we just answered another question. Is that it doesn't matter if he has to fight 3, 2, 1. He still has to go through the top guys in order to get to the championship. And so that's what he's prepared to do.
Could this be enough for a championship, though? I think a lot of people think if he wins, especially impressively, this is enough for a title fight.
Well, I think somebody told us that Dana already came out and said that, this is going to be the number one contention, whoever wins the shot. So hopefully he keeps his word.
Last thing for me, I mean, obviously the last couple performances have been so.
Good to go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weigh-ins face. Get these rattle through these fights pretty quickly. We've got the bantamweight division kicking off the night. We have Mark Striegel against Saeed Nurmagomedov. Next up in the light heavyweight division, Max Grishin against Gadzhimurad Antigulov. Moving on to the lightweight division, Ziam against Jamie Mullarkey. Next to the stage in the middleweight division, John Phillips against John Young Park. Next up in the women's flyweight division, Poliana Botelho against Gillian Robertson. And the featured bout of the preliminary card, Guram Kutateladze against Mateusz Gamrot. And the first fight on the main card in the featherweight division, Jonathan Martinez against Thomas Almeida. Next up in the welterweight division, James Krause against Cláudio Silva. And in the light heavyweight division, Modestas Bukauskas against Jimmy Crute. And your co-main event of the evening in the women's flyweight division, Jessica Andrade versus Katlyn Chookagian. And your main event of the evening, 5 rounds in the featherweight division. The Korean Zombie, Chan Sung Jun, against T-City, Brian Ortega. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night for an excellent card of fights.
Thanks. Well, that was actually less than start. You started 7. So about 2 minutes. You were 7 last week. You were 7 last week. I think that's long name.